This is Alex. Alex is 45. He's been diligently contributing 6% of every paycheck to his 401k for the last 2 decades. He's proud of his growing nest egg. It's a symbol of his financial responsibility. He believes he's doing everything right. He's following the advice of every financial guru and HR department. But what if the retirement account your boss told you to trust was invented by accident? What if it was never truly designed to work for you? And what if it quietly charges you a fee you've never seen on a single statement? Alex doesn't know it yet, but his 401k is costing him far more than he realizes. By the end of this video, he'll know, and so will you. Because the 401k isn't a scam in the way a Nigerian prince email is a scam. It's a scam in the way a rigged game is a scam. It's perfectly legal, widely accepted, and designed to extract maximum value from you without you ever realizing you're playing on their terms. Welcome to the hidden math of your retirement. To understand the 401k, we have to go back to 1978. Congress passed the Revenue Act, and buried deep within it, almost as an afterthought, was Section 401k. It was a minor provision. It was intended to allow executives to defer compensation, not to become the bedrock of American retirement. Then came Ted Benna, a benefits consultant who, in 1980, realized this obscure tax code could be used to create a new type of retirement plan. He called it a 401k. It was never meant to replace pensions. You remember pensions? Those old-school plans where companies guaranteed you a steady income for life. Pensions were expensive for companies. They were a liability on their balance sheets. But the 401k? It was a revelation. Suddenly, companies could offload the entire burden of retirement onto their employees. Instead of guaranteeing a pension, they could just offer a matching contribution, a carrot to encourage participation, and let you, the employee, handle all the investment decisions, all the risk, and all the fees. In 1980, nearly 60% of private sector workers had a pension. Today, that number is under 15%. The 401k wasn't a grand design to empower workers. It was an accidental loophole that companies eagerly exploited to shed their retirement responsibilities. It was the ultimate corporate magic trick, making a cost-cutting measure look like a benefit. Imagine you have a beautiful wooden house, and tiny invisible termites are silently eating away at its foundation. That's what 401k fees are doing to Alex's savings. Most people assume their 401k is free or that the fees are negligible. They're neither. These aren't just one-time charges. These are annual fees. Administrative fees for the plan itself, and expense ratios for the mutual funds you're invested in. And they add up. The Department of Labor has a stark warning. A mere 1% difference in fees over 35 years, assuming a 7% annual return, will reduce your final retirement balance by a staggering 28%. Let that sink in. Nearly a third of your hard-earned savings gone. Not because of bad investments, but because of invisible termites. Some 401k plans, especially those for smaller companies, can charge total annual fees ranging from 1% to 3%. If Alex has $500,000 in his 401k, a 1% fee means $5,000 gone this year alone. That's not a rounding error. That's a car. That's a year of your kid's college. That's the difference between retiring at 65 and retiring at 70. And you never see it itemized on a statement. It's just subtracted from your returns. A silent, relentless drain. The 401k's biggest selling point is tax-deferred growth. You don't pay taxes on the money you put in today, and it grows tax-free until you retire. It sounds like a great deal, but tax-deferred is just a polite way of saying tax-delayed. And the IRS is incredibly patient. When you finally retire and start pulling that money out, every single dollar is taxed as ordinary income. You're not paying the lower capital gains rate. You're paying the same rate as if you were still working. But here's the real trap. The IRS doesn't just wait for you to take the money out. They force you to. At age 73, you hit the required minimum distribution, or RMD. The government looks at Alex's balance and says, you must withdraw this exact amount this year and pay taxes on it, whether you need the money or not. Let's look at the math. Imagine Alex does everything right and reaches 73 with a $1.3 million 401k. His first RMD will be roughly $49,000. That $49,000 is added to his taxable income. If he's also collecting Social Security, that forced withdrawal can push his income high enough that up to 85% of his Social Security benefits suddenly become taxable too. In year one of retirement, Alex could be looking at a $19,800 tax bill. That's a luxury cruise, a new roof, a year of medical care, all triggered by a forced withdrawal he didn't even want to make. The tax-deferred promise isn't a shield, it's a time bomb. But what about the employer match? That's free money, right? It's the one thing every financial advisor agrees on. Always get the match. It's free money. But it comes with strings attached. Those strings are called vesting schedules. When Alex's company deposits that match into his account, it's not actually his, not yet. Many companies use a graded vesting schedule, often stretching out over 5 or 6 years. You might get 20% of the match after year 2, 40% after year 3, and so on. You only get to keep 100% of that free money if you stay for the full 6 years. Here's the problem. The average American changes jobs every 4.1 years. This means millions of workers are leaving billions of dollars in free money on the table every single year. When you leave before you're fully vested, the unvested portion of your match goes right back to the company. It's a brilliant retention mechanism. It's designed to make you feel like you're losing money if you quit, keeping you in a job you might otherwise leave. The match isn't a gift, it's a pair of golden handcuffs. The final structural flaw of the 401k is the complete transfer of risk. With a traditional pension, the company bore the risk. If the stock market crashed, the company still had to pay you your guaranteed monthly check. They had teams of professional actuaries and fund managers to ensure the math worked out. With a 401k, you are the pension fund. You bear 100% of the market risk. You're expected to be your own actuary, your own fund manager, and your own economic forecaster. All while working your actual full-time job. And when the market crashes, there's no safety net. In 2008, the average 401k balance plummeted by 24.3%. Even target date funds, the safe option designed for people on the verge of retirement, lost over 20%. Imagine Alex is 64 years old in 2008. He's planning to retire the next year. Then he watches a quarter of his life's work vanish in a matter of months. You can't just ride it out when you need the money to buy groceries next week. This system created a slow-motion crisis. Today, 57% of Americans say they haven't saved enough to retire on their own terms. The median 401k balance for someone Alex's age is just under $68,000. That's nowhere near the $1 million+ required to replace a working income. The system isn't failing, it's functioning exactly as it was designed to. By shifting the burden entirely onto you. The 401k isn't evil, it's just a tool. But it's a tool that was designed for someone else's benefit, and then handed to you as a gift. You shouldn't necessarily stop contributing, especially if you're getting a match and you plan to stay long enough to vest. But you do need to stop treating it like a magical black box that will automatically solve your future. You need to check your expense ratios. You need to understand your vesting schedule. And you need to realize that the tax-deferred growth is just a bill you're agreeing to pay later at a rate you can't predict. Money makes more sense when you can see the trap. Once you understand the plumbing of the 401k, you stop being a passive participant and start becoming an active manager of your own wealth. If you want to see how the wealthy use a completely different set of rules to avoid the tax bomb waiting at the end of your 401k, subscribe. Next time, we're looking at the buy, borrow, die strategy, the loophole that lets the ultra-rich spend millions without ever paying income tax. See you in the next glitch.